Oh, well, might as well get started, and if more people turn up as we get going, then that's all good. Yeah, there you go. Good to see you. The picture there, Sandra. Yeah, so welcome everyone to the Zero Carbon Mine webinar. This is the second one we've held after the one back in February. So really just about, talking about shifting the mining industry towards zero carbon emission sort of industry, and it's, trying to keep it fairly casual and, just facilitating sort of discussion around, going net zero, electrification, all those sorts of things, presentations from people like Sandra, and, got a couple of roundtables coming up in the next couple of months. But, to start with, might just, get a quick welcome. We have a bit of a presentation from Sandra, some Q&A, see how that goes, a bit of discussion after that, and share a bit of what's coming up, future ones. But I'll get them out there a bit earlier than I did this one. But yeah, I'll hand it over. I'll quickly introduce Sandra, but and we'll get on with the show. Sandra Nowosad, right, is from the Institute of Mining of Clausthal University of Technology in Germany, and she's going to be running us through blue mining, which is a concept of working on reshaping sustainability practice in mining. So I'm sure Sandra can fill you in a hell of a lot better than I can, so I'll pass it on to her, and yeah, get on with it. Are you all right to share? Are you able to share, Sandra?
No, I don't have rights right now.
Okay, I'll let you do that. Okay. So you should be able to now.
Yep, now I can see it. There you go. Okay, so I will start now. I won't take 40 minutes. So I'm happy I was given so much time. However, I won't take it. Today, I want to talk to you about the topic of research we conduct at our university, Clausthal University of Technology, at our department, the Department of Underground Mining Methods and Machinery. That's called blue mining. And this is a kind of new old topic. It's older than 13 years, so it's over 13 years old. It started with the implementation and development of post-mining strategies with an economical purpose for extending the life of mines or economic life of mines. And today it showcases an integrative mine planning approach for sustainable development in mining. And we have had last December some additions to our concept that are in line with the net zero mine that I would like to share with you today. Great. So I'm going to walk you shortly about today's situation and circular economy, and then a little bit about blue mining, the concept and the elements that compose the blue mining concept, and then why did it start as a topic along with post mining, and what the economic challenges with the secondary utilization of underground mine infrastructure currently is, and what we found out after some years of research, and why we are advocating for this blue mining topic. And then shortly introduce you to integrative mine planning in the framework of blue mining, and just as outlook our current working areas with an invitation to showcase your circular economy initiatives. So probably you have heard about many of this topic at the moment, we have a rising demand for primary extraction of raw materials, specifically critical raw materials. And here I wrote primary because there was a big discussion around recycling of raw materials and how can we make all mining more circular, and how could we achieve our goals by recycling. But research has found out that that's not the case, that up to 2030, we will only be able to recycle about 10% of the required raw material. So primary extraction will still be key for meeting our sustainable development goals. And all of this happens along stricter regulations. So we have new regulatory frameworks all over the world and policies, stricter, but at the same time proactive towards mining. And we will take a look at it in shortly. However, this is not the only challenge we have at the moment. We also have an aging and changing workforce. So we see it a lot in Germany as well as in the US. There is a big percentage of the working force that it's going on retirement up to 2030. And it's workforce that we will have to replace with newer mining engineers and associated fields. However, universities are not able or are not receiving the number of needed junior students to be able to fill with this challenge. So there are different governmental strategies that also support to improve the image of mining, what you see there at the bottom, which is actually one of the reasons for this low amusement for mining from the younger generations. They are not amused by mining, and therefore they don't see themselves working there. Therefore, they just don't apply for those programs. Yeah, and also according to the last Mine 2023 report from PwC, climate change is a big issue that most mining CEOs think their mine sites will be affected by, whether is it by flooding events or heavy rainfalls or associated topics. Climate change is also a new, let's say, a new topic in the field of mine planning that should be addressed for the future. And to make things not easier but harder, there is non-filling ore grades, and all accessible deposits have already been mined. So this means that we are going deeper and deeper, and we see this trend. I did a study over about 1,000 metal and coal mines on data up to 2022, and at least 200 and more than 200 mines were transitioning from open pit to underground mining all over the world. And we know, we have heard about many mines transitioning from surface to underground. However, to me personally, to have the number as a fact that it's over 200 mines that are currently, whether already transitioned or are in transition process, impacted me a lot. So yes, we are going deeper, and we'd like to say, because we represent the Department for Underground Mining, we like to say that the future is underground. And yeah, all of these new requirements have made mining not easy, and there is an increase in capital expenditure and operational costs. This also supported by the implementation or the goal to implement newer technologies. Now most tier 1 mining companies, they implement or digital strategy, digitalization strategy, as one of their corporate goals. So disruptive technologies and developments in mining are also a current challenge, mostly for brownfield projects and ongoing mining projects. And after an exchange with many industry representatives, all of these changes and this changing world, mining is a mostly static type of industry. So miners don't like change. We tend to say miners don't like change. I mean, we like to improve, we like to optimize. However, if you tell me that we will implement now something that will change completely the way we proceed, then it can bring a conflict that have to be properly managed. And that's why some mining companies are advocating for implementing a culture of change management within their strategies. And yes, this is the current framework we're living in. You know, stricter frameworks and regulations all over the world, more complicated mining, complex ore bodies, and new technologies we have to deal with. And at the end, we all work in the business of extracting minerals and people. So we must do it in a proper way and be able to think out of the box. And change management is bringing management forward under this situation. But let's take a deeper look at the rising demand and the stricter regulation frameworks. So not only challenges, there are also opportunities. Um, in the last, let's say, 5 years, different types of strategies have been developed by different countries. So Canada has a critical minerals strategy. Europe is in process to implement the Critical Raw Materials Act. The UK has as well a critical materials strategy under development. The USA has passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And Australia as well has the Critical Minerals Strategy 2023-2030. But what is this exactly and how does this influences what we do? So let's just take a look at Europe. There are three regulations that are currently driving the extraction of raw materials for the future. So there is the Critical Raw Materials Act. It has been adopted in March this year, and the framework is currently under development. So it will become active. And the European Union, with this framework, with this act, it's aiming to mine at least 10% of its annual requirements in critical raw materials by 2030, recycling 25%, and processing 40% of its needs. And no more than 65% of the European Union's annual needs should come from a single third country. And this has it's in one side for us positive. However, it's not only pushing mining forward, but as well is doing it in a stricter regulation, because when the Critical Raw Materials Act was proposed, it was proposed along with the Net Zero Industry Act, which aims to scale up the manufacturing of clean technologies in the EU. This one is not yet been adopted, however, has been agreed and it's waiting for a formal adoption. And this will regulate how how the manufacturing process can be developed with lower emissions. And along with this too, there is a new European battery regulation that it's already been adopted and will enter into action in 2025. And from next year, battery manufacturers will have to have something like a battery passport, which will measure the carbon footprint and will have life cycle assessment requirements for all battery manufacturers, which makes things a little bit complicated. However, it pursues sustainable mining in Europe further. And this is the current framework we are living in Europe at the moment. However, these changes and implementations are not only along Europe. You also have the Inflation Reduction Act in the USA that has these 6 components. So it has a guideline or line for loans to support mining development of critical raw materials, a production tax credit, mining incentives, electric vehicle tax credit, research and development grants, and support of manufacturing. And the same case is what we see, a similar case is what we see in Australia. There is this framework of 2023 to 2030 that it aims to promote the country development of critical mineral production, and it's based on 6 focus areas. So developing strategically important projects, attracting investment and building international partnerships, First Nations engagement and benefit sharing, promoting Australia as a world leader in ESG performance, unlocking investment in enable infrastructure and services, and growing skilled workforce. But as you see here, point 4, this is what I've been talking about. Even though these acts and strategies pursue mining forward, it supports a type of mining that is sustainable with the environment under the ESG framework. So it's not supporting any type of mining, but it's supporting sustainable mining. And on one side, we do this because it's the correct thing to do to our environment. On the other side, we do it because it also increases investment in mining projects. So this is from the report of PwC of 2021, Mine 2021, and they have also addressed the topic that mining projects that had a clear ESG framework integrated in the development of the project for the future were mining projects that acquire more investment for their development. And you see as well here how the relative performance of companies with an ESG focus is against the ones that don't have an ESG focus, and that this has been increasing through the years. So up to here, we have a challenging framework. We have regulations that support mining, but at the same time, sustainable mining, and I told you I will talk to you about circular mining as well. On the left side, well, to my left, you see a statement from the Mine 2023 report. It says that as a result, mining companies face a dual imperative: to increase output of conventional and critical minerals while decarbonizing mining, refining, and production processes. So this is the 2 areas we are living. On one side, we must produce more. On the other side, we must do it while decarbonizing mining and advocating for more sustainable practices. And when we talk about circular economy in this framework, last year, Mining Leadership Forum of the ICMM, their director of sustainable development made this statement, which I think it's very accurate. The processes that currently take part in mining have not been built to support a circular economy. And that's just true because we didn't have the concept of a circular economy before. And this is what we consider circular economy mining, how to implement it. And well, ICMM has a guideline and framework on how to do this. However, not only they have one, we as TU Clausthal have one as well. And the area of redesigning and remanufacture processes is the area where we consider blue mining has a stake to bring, to manage all the challenges of mining and advocate for sustainable new mining projects for the future. So we are advocating for redesigning the way we plan mines in the long term. So what is blue mining? In general, blue mining describes mines that are sustainable, energy efficient, and ergonomic as an operation that operates in an energy efficient manner and ergonomic manner during and also after the extraction of raw materials. Blue mining pursues full automation as a way to offer better working places and improving processes, and support sustainability by promoting the continuous use of mine sites during and after extraction. So at the right side, you see a concept we develop of the multi-use mine, so that we can extend the life of mine even beyond the primary economical life of mine. But you might be asking, how does this work and how do we apply it? Well, blue mining requires you to consider implementation as early as possible from the blueprint of the mine. So from very early stages, as early as it can be, as the project management can consider it's the correct time to economically do it. Blue mining also maximizes synergies and minimizes conflicts by considering three development stages. So the first one is identification and evaluation of opportunities that we can integrate into long-term mine planning. The second is the identification of the synergies and conflicts these opportunities might bring along. And the third one is the development and evaluation of the solutions. And you must be asking yourself why synergies and conflicts. This is because blue mining has four aspects on which we consider implementation of alternative projects. And these are energy, ergonomics, water, and circularity. And this in the framework of integrative mine planning for sustainable development in mining. So what exactly do we mean by energy? By implementing energy efficiency projects, energy storage and distribution projects, and energy transformation projects along or after the life of mine. By ergonomics, we aim to pursue full automation, as mentioned before. By water, we mean decrease the water demand, define the quality requirements of mine water, and develop projects related to synergies on water. And if you just think about the topics energy and water and mine production, this is where conflicts can arise from the research we have done, because these are sensitive topics and very relevant resources within a mine operation. And as mentioned before, I told you we did some additions in December of last year. And these were water and circularity, because we think that to advocate for more sustainable mine for the future, we must implement the circularity concept throughout the mine planning of a mine or the mine design of a new mine, by implementing projects related to the reuse of the resources we have, the repurpose of the resources, and recycle as possible of the materials that enter the mining constellation. But I told you before that we started with post mining, right? That we started with this concept of blue mining and integrative mine planning because we did research on post mining and secondary economical activities in mining operations, in our case specifically to underground mining. And there are many opportunities around post mining. However, it brought some challenges as well. And I will explain you a little bit so that you can understand better our integrative mine planning concept. So the different post-mining opportunities that have been developed through the years involve research laboratories, underground agriculture, leisure and entertainment, industrial tourism in the form of museums, for example, healthcare, materials, data, energy and resources storage, waste disposal with a key focus on radioactive waste disposal, and second life industrial infrastructure. From these eight, the left ones are the more the ones that have been implemented on time. However, they struggle on getting funds and keeping the projects up to date uh, until establishment. And these have been the ones that can be easily established. So we live here in Clausthal-Zellerfeld, which is a former mining region, and we have a mine museum. We have all in the surroundings more than 20 other mine museums. However, we know the mine museum struggles because the financing is made by different institutions, one of them being the government, and it's not a line of business that can stand alone without third-party support. On the right side, especially on these three, sorry, materials that an energy and resources storage is what we believe one of the possibilities of industrial after use of a mining site. Same as the way radioactive waste disposal, we have a lot of this in Germany, and the second life industrial infrastructure too. So these are the three lines that can build new business model. And we have tried to implement this through the years. So in 2011, we conducted our first project to implement an underground water storage facility that will serve to a hydro pump energy generation plant. However, the results have been since 2011 on our first project, then we did the second one in 2012, then we did the second one in 2021. And the results have been that it is at the moment, as you can see here, it has its own limitations. Yeah. So I've tried to summarize more or less the challenges for the implementation, because we have been able to demonstrate technical feasibility of the concept. So we have done tests, geotechnics, geomechanics, geological interaction between water and surrounding rock. We have covered the complete technical side, and it's possible to do that. However, here you find listed the 4 limitants or challenges that we identified. So the first one is that the contemporary status of the facility. So regularly these are abandoned, closed mines that are backfilled or collapsed. And if we don't implement this concept since the beginning, it's more challenging to try to implement it in economical manner later. And this requires restoration and development works, which increases the cost for implementation. However, we find a better chance when integrating open pit former projects, let's say, pits that are not longer on operation, that can be connected to hydro pump energy, a reversible hydro pump energy generation system. And until now, the competing alternatives have been more cost effective as the after use of mine infrastructure. But we believe that there is a solution to this, and that this is also the way to go, because the infrastructure we leave after we do mining, it's also part of the resources of a mine. And that integrative mine planning is the answer to this. And by implementing the concept of post-mining in the development plan, we can reach cost-effective construction during the life of mines. So let's take a deeper look to integrative mine planning so that I can explain this concept better. As I mentioned to you before, post-mining, or we consider in this concept of integrative mine planning, the concept of post-mining as an integral part of the life cycle of a mining project. And as an integral part of life cycle, it also is planned since the very early stages. And why is that? Because of this. At the beginning, the data availability and quality of a project is low and it increases through time. However, the ability to influence the decisions that are made around the project decreases before the production of the mine. So at the beginning, we can consider the topics and the prospection, scoping, pre-feasibility and feasibility studies. And after the detailed engineering section, we still have like the last chance to be able to mention something. And afterwards, our ability to influence the mine plan decreases and decreases through time. So this is why we advocate for post-mining being an integral part of the life cycle of a mine project. If the economically repurpose of the infrastructure can be considered since the beginning, then we will be able to make post-mining a reality, or a secondary economic life of the mine site a reality. And that's what we cover in Blue Mining. And Blue Mining advocates in 3 areas: reducing inputs, minimizing outputs, maximizing resource utilization, and process optimization. So the concept advocates for the early integration of the aspects: energy, economy, water, and circularity, and integrative mine planning areas along the complete life cycle of a mining project that for us recognizes and integrates post-mining phase, and why to always do things the same way we do them. So to implement this concept, you must have a correct planning attitude. So we go backwards. We start by having an image of where are we going to end with this mine? How is the world going to look like when we finish exploiting this mine? And what are the possibilities for a post-mining strategy, for a closure and post-mining strategy? And from there, we start backwards on planning. And along the 3 areas, we have provided some examples on the different inputs and resources a mine that enter a mine, like water, raw materials, energy, utilization of surface areas, communication and infrastructure, stakeholders, equipment, fresh air, even investment. And we aim to minimize outputs, which rules for mostly until exhausted area, and to maximize resource utilization and process optimization. So there are many different ways to define circularity within these inputs and outputs. And not to make this too long, we have provided some specific examples in a publication we have made last December on water and how we can reduce inputs and how can we minimize outputs. I'll just go through this. If you have interest on this, I can send you the presentation or the documentation at the end of the speak. So yes, as an outlook to Blue Mining, we believe this is a planning concept that is to be the optimal way to go when planning sustainable mines with post-mining outlook. Blue Mining currently has a higher relevance for greenfield projects and portfolio projects as for brownfield projects. Database of circular initiatives is currently under construction. So in case the mine or mine-related activity you work on has initiatives to showcase, feel free to fill the survey accessible with this QR code you see at the right, and the best projects will be showcased during a future mine in 2024 in Sydney in September this year. So before I close, I I mentioned it before, but why not to address it back again? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So it's actually the time to also change things and the way we do things in mining. Thank you for your attention, and I say thank you with the miners' word here in Germany, which is Clausthal.
Thank you, Sandra. That was very interesting on hearing more about blue mining. Yeah, if anyone on the call has any questions, please raise your hands and we'll see if we can get to those. I like one thing stuck out to me is that you were talking earlier about how miners don't like change, and I suppose thinking about, you know, the long-term post-mining is probably a big change in mindset because most are production focused. So I suppose the even bigger, longer life mines, it can be a big change in mindset. Is it you had challenges trying to get through those sorts of barriers, and I suppose how do you cut that down?
Yes, so at the moment, we are conducting research analyzing the codes that define how feasibility studies have to be presented for the economical assessment of mining project at a very early stage, because we believe that's the starting point. When we want to set up any mine, what we do, depending on the country where we are or the type of company we belong to, we start probably with a consulting company and they work with different guidelines, or they will offer us, okay, for this situation, you must conduct your project under this framework. Great. So the framework is given. And what we are currently doing since the last 30 years, we just take the framework and do step A, step B, step C, and so on. And we think that's the starting point to be able to make a change, that these codes and frameworks are the ones that must include and address, maybe at the beginning, just as recommendation to consider topics of post-mining, as well as circularity within mines. So we are working on analyzing those because they change depending, they are similar, but they have their particularities anywhere in the world where you are. And we believe that's the way to go. There are also other initiatives, not only from our side, but for example, from Think and Act Differently, that have worked on a different concept on modular mining. Which I can also recommend you to take a look at. It's how to make smaller mining projects economically feasible under the framework we currently have at the moment. Yeah.
Well, that was another question of mine. As you said earlier, 200 mines going from underground to open pit. Is there an appetite for a different way of mining? From how we've probably mined in the past, like sort of smaller scale, or different ways of approaching it, rather than we still basically mine like we have for a long time. So is there much appetite for that? But again it comes down to changing how people operate.
Yes, so we do see this trend from even the bigger companies. They are more advocating, they have to fulfill some easier regulations as well. And we do see the bigger mining companies pursuing and being open to make a statement and take the chance to do things out of the box. And also very smaller mining companies. For example, there is a small mining company in Peru that's called Minsur. And they have implemented a complete lean strategy throughout their whole organigram, which was new. I mean, younger generations in Peru, they want now to work there, and they have the more rough conditions. They operate, I think, over 5,000 meters over sea level. So some years ago, no one wanted to work there. And now, since they are showcasing themselves as this very agile, new type, startup type of company, the younger generations want to work there. So I do see this acceptance for change coming from both the bigger mining companies and the smaller ones. I think it's just a matter of time. We just need some players to jump in, and once one is in and they show good results, then others just come along.
Yeah, I suppose it's proving the concept that it can work. Like we can change how we operate a little bit, but it's always the first mover sort of problem. They want someone else to prove that it works before they'll jump into the big money. So there's a question or comment there from Andrew on, you saw that one.
Yeah, I saw that one. Well, it says it's not associated to seabed mining. We have had this discussion with us as well, because they also call themselves blue mining, and somehow the founder of the concept of blue mining, which is Professor Oliver Langenfeld, we told him, what if we go with green mining? What if? And he said, no, we must stick to blue. We were here before. So blue mining under this framework was established in 2011, which was before the blue mining concept of seabed mine. And he said, we are based on integrating these concepts from the blueprint of the mine, which is the first draft of the mine plan. And now we have decided we will stick to blue mining, even though we are aware that it can be confused or associated to seabed mining, but it's not. And thank you for Andrew for sharing the link to scalable and adaptable mining.
And I suppose how widely is the term blue mining known? Because I suppose is it a fairly small group that would know of it, but or is it becoming more known as a concept?
Yes, so we are working towards it. We have our university has the major concept of being the university of the circular economy. We conduct projects all around circular economy and mining, even since many years ago. Only we never called them circular economy, like this energy water storage or repurposing of mine tailings. But now we are entering more with the concept of circular economy. And along with it, last year we decided to take blue mining as overall concept for the development of our department. So we have a series of presentations this year. So we will be in STEAMI, which is sustainable. STEAMI is a sustainability related conference on sustainable development in the minerals industry in Italy this year. And there we will be presenting blue mining, and we have a 3-book chapter coming up that we are preparing this year that might come up at the end of the year. And we will be presenting blue mining as well at Future Mining 24 in Sydney in September.
So getting it out there a bit more, making it known what blue mining is. So
yeah.
I think unless there's any other questions from anyone else out there, I think that might be it for now. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for filling it in. Like you said, green mining sort of makes more sense on the outside, but I suppose like when blue mining, it's a term, that it's been from the inception, then it, you can't switch around too much. All right, thank you.
And also that sorry, just wanted to quote something. I didn't hear about the blueprint before, because this is a very old concept. the blueprint. It's related to the former architectural concepts that were done with a blue pen many years ago. But the informatics and IT companies, they have adopted this blueprint concept. So this is more known there. So that's also one of the reasons why we decided to keep blue mining, because we see, okay, younger people, even from other industries, know the blueprint concept. So this can also be a good chance to acquire more attention from other fields as well.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
Just look at the comment or question, the last one there from Andrew. Comment around that, or
Brett, did you want me to?
Then...
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Brett,
Yep.
I'm here, but I just the whole thing, like a lot of the stuff you were showing, the whole frameworks that you were showing, there's actually been a long-term thing around enterprise architecture or a process map from a technology point of view of where things fit within the mining industry. It's been around for decades, but it is linear, right? Is there an opportunity to actually work with some of those enterprise, so from a technology point of view, to start to embed some of the thinking around the circularity? And one of the big things is like bringing that whole future use, instead of mine closure being at the end like it is in most of the enterprise architecture diagrams, if you can bring that forward as part of the design, but also change it from being linear to being circular and get involved with those people, will that not help drive the change from a technology and from a how we think about the industry holistically?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the comment. I absolutely agree with you. And that's what I mean with the crab mentality. So I was at the GMG, the Global Mining Guidelines event in Kiruna 1 month ago, more or less. And there we had the discussion on how to actually do a change on mine planning. And every working group starting with the, okay, how do we do mine planning? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Yeah, then how do we implement automation or electrification better? What do we need for this topic? And at one point we said, why are we doing the same thing we do all the time? Why are we going the same line we do all the time? We are here to think out of the box. And it's not a framework yet, but we are working on developing also, because, as I mentioned, Blue Mining integrates ergonomy, and ergonomy stands for better working areas, and better working areas stands also for zero emission, zero entry, and so on. And but that's why we say we must do it like a crab. We should go backwards, or we should try to go backwards. So start at the end. How is this mine going to look like? How is it going to end? How is it going to operate? Okay, let's do a traditional life of mine assessment at the beginning, more or less, let's say 20 years or 10 years or 15. Okay, let's see how the world will be in 15 years. Let's see how the development of this town is going to be in 15 years. What's going to be a better approach for the closure of this project, for alternative projects? Will we have personnel in 15 years? What are the expectations then? Then maybe we can advocate more for a zero entry mine. Or maybe we can say, okay, this mine from comparison with other similar mines, it's also going to go deeper. So maybe we should just implement battery electrical vehicles and ventilation on demand, or that supports ventilation on demand better. And then we start planning, okay, now we have this one, and what is going to be the step? Now, what do we need to make that a reality? And then we go backwards. And then we have our complete plan of mine. So thank you. Yes, enterprise architecture or software architecture, sorry, not software, process architecture is a concept we also consider here.
Thanks, and I think we're, you've probably you've used up your 40 minutes. I'll probably more, but I'll just quickly share. I've got a couple of meetings in the next couple of months. Got a couple of panels that I've set up with a few people. The first one around collaboration and innovation for drive decarbonisation, and another one around mining electrification. So I've got a few panelists line up for those, but always on the lookout for more if any of you are interested. So yeah, thank you, and hopefully catch you next time. But thanks for dialing in, and yeah, see you for now.